23-22. It's a resolution rescinding and revising Resolution 23-43 to include all areas outside the city limits of Portland for issuing any new water capacity request. Move to approve.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
Yeah, I can lead off here. I just want to say that I'm not for this. I've kind of argued before that I think we should be going off of historical data. And so we pulled the historical data. So for the past, from 2011 to 2023, we approved a total of 1,368 taps inside the city limits and outside the city limits. If you look at we're averaging about 50-50, roughly, sometimes 60-40 on percentage, like what we're approving outside the city limits and what we're approving inside the city limits. So we're averaging like 114 taps a year right now. I know we've got 1,100 in the pipeline, but I mean, that's going to take us, if we go on historical data, it's going to take us 10 years to build out those 1,100 homes is what it would take. I mean, I know we've got a plan for the worst. So I'm just of the mindset that we should not set a moratorium inside or outside the city limits based on the historical data. I know there's more to that, but and then I think our greater issue, and I know we talked about a lot in here, is water loss too. I mean, we're at you guys have been working on it. But we're still at if you include everything, roughly 40%. Is that right? 40%. Depending on how you look at it, 40% unsold. So we're only selling 60% of the water that we produce.
Yeah, and that's what we keep bringing to you. So you have a lot that it's been accounted for but not sold. You have those.
Right.
Flushing, fire, you name it, known leaks. Then you have those things that are unaccounted for and unsold. That's why we're spending all this money on the fixed Wi-Fi network that we're hoping to get to the flow meter. That's why we're fixing to do the industrial fire lines, all these things. We know water, replacing Highway 52 East water line. I got a feeling there's a leak or two on that line that we don't know about yet. But that takes a lot of money to get to there. So you want to speak on water loss?
I know that the percent sold is around percent unsold, around 40%.
Right.
But what's not accounted for that is the fire lines. I mean, I got to tell you, we showed you the graph. You guys passed an ordinance on, not the graph, but those estimated numbers by us putting flow meters on those fire lines. And I think a large portion of that 40% we're going to find out is on those leaking fire lines. So I don't think there's just a massive, large leak somewhere that we just haven't found. We found several natural springs, and we fixed those, and the system's responded. But I don't know that we have the natural springs occurring anymore. It's a death by 1,000 cuts. And, I mean, I've got to tell you, it is hard to run our water system in the summer. It is hard. And what I mean by that is the plant only produces so much, and we can only get so much from White House, and we can only get so much from Westmoreland. And what's approved right now is 1,184 taps based upon capacity letters. I got them pulled up right here. We add 1,184 taps. We ain't got the water.
Yeah, we're not adding those tomorrow, though. I mean, we're not adding 1,100 taps tomorrow.
No,
That's
but
not,
Parkside Point's
if you look at history, it's going to take 10 years to do it.
If you look at that, but I think sometimes things jump. Parkside Point, we're talking with those developers there. They are moving rapidly. Parkside Estates has laid all the water in the sewer. That's 43 taps. That's just right over here off of Hood Trail. Those houses will be built in the next year. North Harris Lane's only 5, but it still adds in there. Twin Lakes is 58. They are ready to move. Those are probably going to happen in the next 2 years. You got the Ede property, it's 11 out off 259. They already scheduled the pre-con. We've got ProCaps, a large industry. Ruby Springs, that's 47 taps right there. I'm telling you, I really feel that there's going to be a large jump in the next 2 to 3 years, because what we've been waiting on so long is for these people to get approval. A lot of them have gotten approval in planning. And now that they've gotten approval in planning and interest rates are thinking they're going to drop, but Middle Tennessee is just also a hotbed, I think these subdivisions are going to go. You got Fleming Acres and North Leith, it's only 7, but still out there. You got another industry at Kirby Drive going in. Richland Estates is 36. Village Greens looking at 181. You got, what is that, Richland Estates right here, which is going to be townhomes, and it's looking at around 50, I do believe. and it's got planning approval. Parks Side Estates has planning approval. Parkside Point got planning approval. I mean, there's a lot of them out there.
When do you expect the plant to be done?
The water, no, are we talking about water or sewer?
Water.
Well, the water plant is on the same schedule as the water line coming out of Gallatin. That's got to be completed by, I think, September of
Well,
26.
so that's important to think about. If that has to be completed by September of 2026, it's going to add another 2 million gallons per day. Then, and we're talking if 1,100 homes adds 250 to 300 gallons a day per house. So you're talking what, 330,000 for 1,100 homes?
Yeah.
I mean, we have to have that project done by 2026.
And a lot of
we're
that-
not. We will not have 1,100 homes by more
Well,
homes
and a
by
lot of that-
2026. I
A
promise.
lot of that that you're saying is in the city too. How many requests are you getting in the county? It can't be that many.
It's about half and half.
1% of it?
No, it's more than 1%.
No, it's about here.
It's about 10
Pass
to
that down to them. It's about
20%.
half and half.
The problem I think with the plant is the plant's not funded to be done by 2026. We've talked about it.
Nothing's funded.
Nothing's funded on it.
We have a grant,
And there's
but
just a
nobody knows what
discussion
that
on
bid is
fixing that
yet.
plant to a 2 million gallons. It's not in the works. We still don't even have the engineering done to get us a final cost on whether or not 20 million is gonna bring that pipeline up here. This is horrible to do, but at the end of the day, that water was a benefit to the county, but it belongs to the city. And it's unfortunate, but we've continued to allow taps to be issued, and I just can't see. I believe we should look at it probably every 6 months or 12 months to open it back up, to look at it. I'm not necessarily in disagreement with Mr. Harbin on looking at these one building lots. That's something I haven't thought about. But at the end of the day, maintaining that water when it comes down to that drought, if it happens, God forbid it does, and having that water available to current customers is more important to me than the county getting a couple of houses over the next couple of years. But that's just where I stand.
I think we have to fix the problem. We're committed to fixing the problem. We're committing a significant amount of dollars to run this pipe, from Gallatin. And I mean, I think we are going to have the availability. And I just think we need to go off the historical data. I think we need to keep in mind the future data, but I think we need to go off of, because if you look at 2021, 2022, which were peak building years, and interest was down in 2020, especially 2019, 2020. I mean, we had 98 total homes inside and outside 2020, 141 2022. 2021, 127, 2022, dropped down to 93 in 2023 through September, so probably around 100, 120 for end of year last year. I mean, we're just not seeing these major jumps where we're like we saw 600 homes being built this year or something.
Yeah. The other concern, though, just from my perspective, is also want to make sure that make sure capacity is available to us. Remember, if you come across a good manufacturer, they're going to eat up all your capacity if we have to do that. But our community is looking for some retail restaurants. They require so much. We're actually starting to see I think we're starting to see the kind of interest today that we were seeing at the end of 2019 before COVID hit, as far as people are looking to invest as far as retail and stuff. We're hoping some of those come to be for our community, right? So I just want to be cautious. And
Yeah,
making
I
sure-
understand, and I think I really don't think it's the housing that eats up. Like, I mean, what's 114 homes averaging a year times, say 300 max gallons? It's 34,200 on a daily basis. I really don't think it's the houses that's really eating into it. I think it's the water loss, and then if we start getting some of these, commercial businesses that eat into it some. But it's really the water loss, which I think we are attacking, but we just need to continue
Yeah,
to really attack the water
We
loss.
made a lot of improvement. Talk to us about where we are on the fixed Wi-Fi. What you're
The
seeing
fixed
this-
Wi-Fi, the network is up, and all we're having to do right now is change the meters out and get the Itron swapped over, there's two pieces to the meter. There's the meter that the actual water flows through, and it takes a measurement. But there's also an Itron, which is an electro radio transmitter that sends a signal out so that we can pick it up. And what we're doing is swapping all those over to be able to not have to drive a truck past them. We can pick them up 24/7, and they get real-time data. And also the problem is our meters are old, so as we're swapping it out, that's part of that water loss number. But there's actually water going through the meter, but instead of it registering 7,000 gallons, they're so worn out, they're registering like 4,000 gallons. So fixing that, actually all it's gonna do is increase your produced sold, which is good, because that'll help with more revenue and not have to do a rate increase, but it still validates the numbers that we have of using as much as we're using.
Well, we hope to get to the place, now, it's gonna take a while to get all these meters in. We've replaced a bunch, but they cost money, takes time to get them in. But once he gets to that place and he's zoning off this whole system,